Hey everybody, you're listening to the Clutch Sports Podcast with Nadira, the show that digs into and unpacks everything that's happening in sports. So for people who love sports, let's go. Let's get the show started. It's time for We See You, our athlete spotlight. Let's go.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Clutch Sports. I am your host Nadira, and let's just start unpacking everything that's going on in the sports world. Topping off each episode, we start off with our athlete spotlight in a segment called We See You. And this week's highlight goes to Tobias Harris. Yes, the 76ers forward has many contributions off the court. And while there are too many to name, let's just get to a few. So one of his contributions, he has a little program called Lit Labs, and that actually brings diverse books to schools and families. He also is partnered with Habitat for Humanity to help pay for 3 months of mortgage to 12 families during the pandemic. Major help there. And he's also on the NBA Board of Directors to promote career opportunities for Black youth. I feel that is a very awesome program. He does a lot more. Tobias is also the recipient of the NBA Cares Community Assist Award for efforts off the court. So to Tobias, shout out. We see you, and keep up everything that you're doing off of the court.
We're diving into the hotspot for the latest news, rumors, and updates. Let's see what's up.
All right, let's jump over into the hot spot, y'all, where we are going to go over all the news and updates, what took place in the NFL, what's going on. Let's get right into it. Now, the Cardinals lose a chance to clinch and fall 30-12 to who? The 2-11 Lions. Now, the Cards, who are 10-14, have a chance to earn a postseason berth during Week 15, but they'll also need some other teams to lose or tie. Now, Murray said regarding their loss to the Lions, they were just hungrier than us. The third-year QB was 23 of 41 for 257 yards. Now, the Lions QB Goff left Ford Field with 21 of 26 for 217 yards with 3 TDs. Now, the Cards started the season 7-0, but have lost the last 4 of the last 7 games. So let's see what they can do in the next weeks coming up. Let's jump over to Mr. Aaron Rodgers. Now, I know that y'all remember last week I told y'all that the toe wouldn't matter, a shoulder, a hip, a knee, whatever. Aaron Rodgers was about his business. And yes, him and the Packers have clinched their 3rd straight division title over who? The Baltimore Ravens with a 31-30 victory. Now, Aaron Rodgers ties Brett Favre's touchdown records of 442 TD passes. Now, the Packers, who are 11-3, got the automatic playoff berth and stayed on track for the number 1 seed in the NFC North with 3 games to go. Now, Rodgers will try and break the mark against who? Yes, you already know I'm a Cleveland girl. Yes, he's going to try to break that record on Christmas Day against the Cleveland Browns. So I will be tuned into that game to see exactly what happens. Let's jump over and see what's going on with the Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys take a 21-6 win over the Giants at MetLife Stadium. The Cowboys took away 3 interceptions and a fumble recovery. Now, for the season, the Cowboys have 31 takeaways, the most by a Dallas defense since 2014. 23 interceptions as a team, which is the most since 99. Now, the Cowboys are playing hard-nosed football right now, guys, out-hitting all other teams. And let me tell you, right now, They are about their business, okay? The Cowboys are at the top of the NFC East. We will get into power rankings later. Now, let's jump over into some Week 15 leaders. Now, for passing, we got who for Kansas City? Patrick Mahomes with 31 completions, 47 attempts, and 410 yards. Who do we have here for rushing for Indianapolis? We have Jonathan Taylor. My God, told you guys, MVP. 29 carries and 170 yards. And yes, in my opinion, running backs do not matter in the MVP conversation, but put Jonathan Taylor in that. For receiving, again, for the Chiefs, we have Travis Kelce, the tight end. 10 receptions, 191 yards. And then also for KC, we got Nick Bolton, a linebacker, 10 unassisted tackles, 4 assisted tackles, and 14 total tackles. So in Week 15, KC has 3 out of 4 spots on lock, okay? They are not playing games. Let's jump over into the injured list. Now, the Cleveland Browns, my Lord, the entire team positive for COVID. We're going to have to tag in our practice team here in a minute because we're not going to have any players. Our running backs and defense need to stay healthy, and I believe we can pull it off. Browns play Washington on Monday at 3 o'clock. Let's see. The Broncos, Bridgewater checks out fine after Sunday's head injury. Good news there. Seahawks places Reed and Shell and 4 others on the reserve COVID-19 list. And the Jets, Riley checks out fine after a neck injury. And the Ravens QB, Lamar Jackson, is still out and not guaranteed to play in Week 16 against the Bengals. So it looks like his ankle is still not healed all the way just yet. So let's see if the quarterback that they have tagged in can pull it off. So far, he seems to be doing a good job. But, yeah, let's see what those Ravens can do. Let's jump into NFL power rankings for Week 15. So the Rams and the 49ers climb and the Ravens slip. Now, at the top of the AFC East, the Patriots are 9-5. At the top of the AFC North, you got the Bengals and the Ravens tied at 8-6. At the top of the AFC South, you got the Titans, who has a record of 9-5. And at the top of the AFC West, you have the Chiefs with a record of 10-4. Let's jump over to the NFC East, where the Cowboys are 10-4. The top of the NFC North, you got the Packers, who already clinched at 11-3. The top of the AFC South, you got the Bucks with a record of 10-3. And out west, those birds, Arizona Cardinals, are at the top of the NFC West with the record of 10-4. Now, let's do something a little different. Let's look at some wild card standings in each of these conferences. So let's jump over into the AFC. You have the Colts with a record of 8-6, the Chargers with a record of 8-6, and the Bills with the record of 8-6. So the AFC wild card is going to be crazy. Bananas. Let's go over to the NFC. The Rams with a record of 9-4, the 49ers record of 7-6, and Washington with a record of 6-7. Lots going on in those wild card standings. We've passed the midpoint of the NFL season. The standings and playoff situations are starting to take shape. So, yes, much more to come in Week 16. We will be back to talk about everything that has happened.
It's about to heat up. It's time for all the smoke. Let's get into these debates.
All right, it's time for all the smoke. And last week we talked about our NFL Coach of the Year and NFL Executive of the Year. And in my opinion, I felt that should go to Bill Belichick. Yes, the man has done some amazing things. He spent the bread, got the people that he needed to make some things happen. And I'd ask for people to call in and give me your opinions about, him being Coach of the Year and NFL Executive of the Year. So thanks to those who actually called in. It was much appreciated. We will jump into having live guests and some feedback in real time soon. But I appreciate each and every one of you who left me a message. So let's get into some of you guys' responses. One response came from Willie, and he said all they lost was a QB, not like he had to rebuild a whole team. We have another one from Shay, and Shay says, say it again, girl, the Patriots are back. Duke says, no, let's see where Mac is in a couple of years. And a couple of other people were not really feeling the fact that Bill Belichick has done anything spectacular to build the team. He's rebuilt the season from Misa, excuse me if I'm saying that wrong. His rebuilt season is still going 7-9. Me as a Giants fan will be happy with that record. By the way, John says best coach in NFL history, period. And then we have someone here named Josh who says they spent a shitload this year and gave Cam nothing last year. So many different opinions on whether or not Belichick should be Coach of the Year, NFL Executive of the Year. I feel that he spent the money. He got the right players. They're executing down the stretch, and they're really showing what they can do. I mean, if you go back to our segment previously and we're talking about these NFL power rankings and who's doing what, seems like the Patriots are having no problems whatsoever because they are 9-5 and top of the NFC East. And, don't get me wrong, as always, things can change, right? Teams fall, teams fail, but they also stay the course as well. And I feel that as far as what he has shown in leadership, what he has shown as far as an executive, in my opinion, he deserves Coach of the Year. So I appreciate every single person who called in, left a message. I will continue to provide a link. And once we go live with callers, call me. We could do this in real time. That's what the All the Smoke segment is for. Yes, we are going to talk about it, discuss it, debate it, whatever it is that you guys feel that you want to share, please do. Thank you all again for calling in for that. And we'll see exactly what happens with the NFL decisions on Coach of the Year and NFL Executive of the Year. And my opinion, again, before I end this segment, yes, Bill Belichick. Next week, what we'll do is jump into another debate, and that is the hot hand in basketball. Is the hot hand phenomenon a misconception, or is there some merit to it? I mean, we all know that when a player's on a hot streak, they're often called the hot hand. They're hot. The idea that basketball players can find themselves with a hot hand resonates with sports reporters and alike all across the board. So we're going to jump into that. Do you think the hot hand is real? That is our next topic in All the Smoke next week.
Let's wrap it up. It's time for Say What You Mean. Let's get it.
All right, guys, it is time for Say What You Mean. And this week, I'm going to give my most humblest opinion of Mr. LeVar Ball. Yes, the outspoken father of LaMelo and Lonzo Ball. Now that LaMelo Ball and Lonzo Ball are off to promising NBA careers, we can take a much jovial approach toward the bombastic proclamations of their outspoken father, LeVar Ball. Now, while Lonzo has established himself as an integral part of one of the Eastern Conference's best teams with the Chicago Bulls, LaMelo has continued his trajectory toward NBA superstardom as a point guard for the Hornets. There are plenty of mentor figures surrounding him in Charlotte, his veteran teammates, Coach James Borrego, TV broadcaster and former NBA sharpshooter Dale Curry, but the most prominent is Hornets owner, who? MJ, yes, Michael Jordan, who is widely considered to be the best basketball player of all time. Now, with Jordan at his disposal, you think LaMelo would constantly be picking his brain for different ways on improving his game. Now, according to LeVar, however, that's not the case. Like, not at all. Now, he was asked, how often does LaMelo seek out advice from Mike? And LeVar says, never. What advice is he going to give him? You tell me what advice he's going to give him. Matter of fact, do you ever have milk in your refrigerator, man? Well, when the damn thing expires, I hope you throw it away. When was the last time Jordan won a championship? The game has changed. And what is he going to tell him? Now, there are many different places where you can hear the most colorful versions of what he said. YouTube, different, podcasts have decided to air the audio so you can hear it himself. Me, myself, not interested in wasting that much time on LeVar. I have very, very, very short string and thin patience when it comes to him. Now, the logic doesn't even seem to hold up under the modicum of scrutiny. But at this point, we all know that LeVar Ball has a penchant for making controversial and unsupportable statements. Now, he already targeted MJ once, infamously saying he could beat him in a game of one-on-one. Before I continue, I still want to see that. Single-handedly, LeVar Ball, MJ, one-on-one in the court, not happening. We don't believe you. You need more people. It's hard to believe that LaMelo and MJ have never had a conversation about basketball, but either way, the second-year guard is boasting phenomenal numbers. He's increased his averages across the board, putting up 20 points, 8.3 assists, and 7.7 rebounds per game, while improving his three-point shooting from 35% as a rookie to 39% this season on 2 or more attempts per game. Now, the Hornets have been ravaged by COVID recently, missing several players, including LaMelo, for Friday night's game against the Kings. Now, even with the limited roster, they've managed to stay above 500 and currently in play-in position. Now, imagine how good they'll be when LaMelo eventually does decide to ask Michael Jordan for some advice. Mr. Ball, yes, you are very passionate about your children, and rightfully so, as every parent should. But at some point in your sons' careers, as grown men in the National Basketball Association, you should just simply sit down and be that parent and watch your sons play basketball, however their career is going to end up, and whomever they take advice from, that should be their decisions as grown men. Please don't be one of the parents that are the embarrassment of the child, adult or otherwise, because you simply don't know how to do what? Put a zipper on your lip and sit down and shut up. All right, guys, that wraps up this week's episode. Tune in every week with me. We will be back here at the same place at the same time, talking about the same thing. This is Clutch Sports. I am your host, Nadira. 2 fingers and a thumb, y'all. Peace.